Hi, I'm Leanne Ely. I'm a nutritionist, a New York Times best-selling author, and some people even say I'm a life coach. I started the Daily Dish Show to share my story, my truth, and my journey to vibrancy, and to inspire others to do the same. Because it's all about grit, perseverance, and finding a way despite the odds. It's about embracing the whole woman, not just the parts that are easy to love, and feeding her heart, mind, body, and soul. But I found that this isn't just my story, it's your story too. It's go time. This is the Daily Dish. Today we're going to be talking about consistency versus epiphany. You know, yesterday we got a little fired up. I got to preaching. I brought the fire. And today I'm going to bring it down a notch. What do you think? Bring it down a notch, or 2 or 5. Because I want to talk about some really important things that this is all part of my process, by the way. I'm giving you a peek into my process, and the reason that I do is because as humans, as women, as a part of this community, we all need each other's wisdom, don't we? And throw it out there. I see it all the time in our Hot Milk Sprint group on Facebook here. Gosh, what a bunch of great women, you know? There's a bunch of great women in there, and you see like these little truth bombs getting dropped all the time. You see knowledge, you see wisdom. And you know, wisdom comes at any age. It doesn't come just because you're in your 60s now or whatever. It comes at any age. It comes when we are open and willing and listening and applying the lessons that we're learning. We become wise because we've learned our lesson and we've moved on. Up level, up level, up level. That's what happens. It's super cool, and it gives you a real sense of calm. It gives you a sense of purpose, and it gives you a sense of what your mission is in this life as we climb those stairs of experience. You know, we're all in this. We all have places in our lives that aren't just exactly where we want to be, right? But part of this whole thing is being consistent. We want more than anything to just have our life lit up with epiphanies all over the place, don't we? We've all had epiphanies too. We've all had epiphanies. But if I asked you, what do you think is the most important thing? Is it an epiphany or is it consistency? What would you say to me? And I'll tell you exactly what I would say is, oh my gosh, it's consistency. Because an epiphany is just going to open your mind to understanding something new. Whereas consistency is going to take you to the place so that you can apply that something new into your life. Because an epiphany is never enough. Excuse me. It's a light bulb going off. It's not a light switch staying on, right? There's a difference. So James Clear, who wrote Atomic Habits, great book. If you haven't read it, I've read it a couple of times and I've listened to it. Lovely book. And I like it because it's all about just the breaking down of what a habit really and truly is. It's a bunch of micro habits, honestly. And it's a mindset change, because with the mindset change and with these little micro habits that you apply on the daily, that's where you start to see the results. And consistently doing it is gonna make all the difference. Here's what he says. Successful outcomes are never the result of a single choice. They are built up through good choices over time. A profitable business is never just a choice. It's a series of choices. A fit body is never just a choice. It's a series of choices. A strong relationship is never just a choice. It's a series of choices. And we understand this too, what choices actually are, and that they are decisions that we've made for our lives, for our relationship, for our businesses, for our work, for our fitness, that when we make these decisions, we make decisions to move the needle just that little bit in our lives. And I know we all have this microwave mentality of just like, presto, changeo, can I just make it happen right now? It just doesn't, right? It just doesn't. We lose weight by the ounce. We gain muscle by the millimeter. It's a daily thing. It's just a little teeny tiny bit of just tiny refinement daily. And when we can make peace with daily, then we're not going to be in a place of expecting these enormous results. And, you know, enormous results we can get, and we can get fat loss. And you've seen me, I've done a webinar on it. You can get these certain things happening in your life. But we also have to get to the place of understanding that our epiphanies aren't the everything. It's our consistency that is. Because consistency is the thing that's going to move the needle. An epiphany never will. Because all the epiphany does is give you a new idea, an uncovering of something that was, previously unknown. That's all an epiphany does. We live and breathe for them, and we want to have like cosmic 2x4s all the time. But we can do it daily with consistency. Consistency is my word of the year. I've told you that before. And consistency is the thing that dials up the quality of your life. It dials it up and it turns up the heat and it makes it that much more fun. Because remember, we know this, that the magic formula always is going to be, motivation, momentum equals magic. It does. And what is that magic? It's success. And it's also just the sparkle that you put into your daily life. Watching yourself do the things that you actually said that you're going to do. It makes such a difference, and it changes everything. It honestly does. You're no longer held hostage by your own thoughts. You're instead, you get out of the way and go to the next thing. It's just an incredible thing. So when we understand that choices are just really micro decisions that we make every single day, I'm not going to eat that donut. I'm going to instead fast, or I'm going to instead have a Target trifecta smoothie, or I'm going to stay with the plan that I've invested money in, that I've invested my time and my groceries in. I'm going to stay with that, because that micro decision that you're making is pro you. When we understand there's pros and cons in everything that we do and everything that we decide, when we're making these decisions that are bringing us down and cutting us down microscopically daily, we end up in the place of the negative loop, feeling bad, and doing the same thing over and over again. And what does that do? It's just like, do you want to relive 2020 all over again? Absolutely not. But that's what we do. We live the same year over and over again, saying, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that, but never getting into the place of the consistent micro decisions that need to be made on a daily basis. They're little decisions. We sit and we wait for the epiphany. We wait for the big aha moment. But instead, we just have to do little tiny things every single day and let that decision shape what our life looks like. You know that from baby steps and Marla with Fly Lady and what that looks like. I mean, 20 plus years ago, I was a fly baby learning these things for the first time and figuring all this stuff out. 20 years later, completely different environment than I used to have. My house was either a total disaster or it was cleaned up to the nines. It was immaculate and perfect, if I dare say that word. And of course, I was a screaming Mimi. Somebody had the audacity to put a plate on the countertop or in the sink, and I would bite their heads off. That's the life that I lived. And that's a loop of negativity until I learned to put routines into place and clean up after myself and have the first victory of the day by making my bed. That's when things started to change. My environment shifted. And your environment shifts as you put in your quote of the day. You've got your quotes around you, you're journaling, you're meditating, you're thinking different thoughts than the ones that always bring you down, and you make micro decisions based on those. It's amazing. Our lives don't have to change like kaboom, I'm just gonna blow this whole thing up and start like that. Our lives change with just tiny little micro decisions that become habits, that suddenly become routines, that then we elevate them to the place of ritual. We wouldn't dream of not having a day where we didn't meditate or do some kind of movement or hydrate correctly or whatever it is. That's how it changes. There is a gap, my friends. There is a gap. I call this the gap because here you are and here is where you want to be. All of us have some kind of gap. That's why I say when we embrace the journey of creating the bridge in our lives and constructing it ourselves and doing the work, not having it handed to us, that's when we start to see the real change. Not only with what's happening in our lives, our gene size, the way we feel and all of that, but how we present ourselves in this world, how we show up for others as well, how our moods suddenly change and we're less volatile, we're happier, we're content, because joy is within. Joy is within. You have a hand on that. So understand that these little micro decisions that you're making, they're actual declarations of what you want for your life. Declarations. A manifesto of sorts. You know, I'm going to do this because I'm important. This is what I believe about my life. I believe that when I move, when I hydrate, when I eat an anti-inflammatory diet, yeah, I'm going to look better. Yeah, I'm going to feel better. But it's also going to have an impact on everything that I do. Do we understand this? You know, there is this absolute, it's a domino effect. There's your momentum right there. You hit one domino and down they all go. They need to be lined up correctly, of course. And that's what we do with our little habits. We line them up. And then when we are motivated, which has to come within, we're motivated. Why are we motivated for this? Ask yourself, do the why framework. Why? Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to have a better routines in your life, clean up your life and have a better environment? Ask yourself why. If you keep asking what, when you say, well, why? I want to feel better. Why do you want to feel better? So I can be more present in my life. Why do you want to be more present? So I can have the relationship that I want with my kids, with my parents, with my children, with my spouse, with my employer, with my friends. I want a vibrant life. That's where it all ends up going. But your whys are different, and they need to be, because you are uniquely you, and that's how you're rolling. That's how your life works, right? So we go to the place then again of consistency. What is this consistency all about? This consistency means that you are not quitting on yourself, that you're instead finding out that when you have an Edison moment, where you figure out one way that it just doesn't work for you, you make a decision to just dial it up a little bit, just change it up a little bit, and you say, okay, aha, that didn't work. What do I really need to do here? Am I overcomplicating it? This is the analysis that needs to come in. This is when we unplug from emotion and we instead plug into this prefrontal cortex of our mind that says, I'm going to analyze this and I am going to figure it out. That's what I mean by not quitting on yourself. Because so often it gets this emotional context. So we have this emotional bubble all around it. So this is what happens. Oh my gosh, it didn't work. This doesn't work. I don't like this. I can't do it. I'm going to give up. Wah, 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 wah. Lots of complaining, lots of emoting, lots of this is that, and this is, I can't do it. And you quit. And that's how we stay on the carousel of crazy, because the carousel of crazy is just keeping to exchange from one thing to the other and not really hanging in there with what it is that we need to do. We know that. We've done it. We've been these women, right? So what do we need to do? We need to understand that our lives are dependent on us understanding that we are the creator of our own lives. Not our circumstances, not everyone else, not the audience, the fake audience that we think we're playing to, who are watching us and what have you. Not the crowd sourcing that we allow in our lives so that people can have a voice in our lives. We are the creators. We get to choose how we do it. It's our choice. And it's a divine choice given to you by God, by the way, because he has you living here on purpose, doesn't he? Right? Not by chance, you're not just some random human that showed up. You're here and put here on purpose right now, today, for a very divine reason. And our reasons, all of us, our purpose is always to help others. Because we are the rising tide. A rising tide lifts all the boats, not just one, not just a couple, but all. And when we're all helping one another, what a beautiful world we can live in. And the uniqueness of this whole thing is finding out exactly how that's going to work. And you know, we have seasons in our lives. Maybe you're doing something with your children, your elderly parent or whatever. We have seasons, and then it changes. And then it changes, you know? Things move. Kids grow up. And you're left in front of you, you know, with, they call it empty nest syndrome. Like, what am I going to do now? Well, what are you going to do now? Your purpose still is to help others. It's going to be something, though, that's going to be, that will come up as you seek. I promise you. As you seek, you will find. Seek and ye shall find. Ever heard of that one before? So today, as the creator of your own life, I want you to remember there's always a gap. Always. You are the builder of that bridge. You use your tools. And remember something, and this I think is really important, that wherever you are, when you start something, you are a beginner. You know, a Padawan learner. Remember that from Star Wars? You're not a master yet. It's going to take some doing, but as you follow the directions and get your people behind you and just diligently, consistently hang in there and start working on your own bridge, not everyone else's, your own bridge, you'll start to see things incrementally change, because that's what consistency does. So here's the deal. You might find yourself frustrated. It's a big club. I get it. We all get frustrated from time to time. That's what happens. Because sometimes what you're doing isn't getting you what you want quick enough, right? And I want you to never forget this. Never forget who you are. Identify with that first. That, you know, this is not some random, some random experiment. You're part of this whole world. You're here on purpose. You're here by divine appointment, put here by God himself. When you recognize that and you see that, you're gonna start seeing that what you're trying to do is important, and that there might be some ebb and flow on it, but staying consistent is going to get you to the place you want to go. Remember this: excellence and consistency are always in style, are the things that you should be putting on, and you should be taking off instead perfectionism and paralysis, because those two things go hand in hand. And not this side of glory, never on this side of glory will we ever see perfect. Never. Got that? So remember this, that the carousel of crazy doesn't care about you. It doesn't. It just wants to keep you changing things out, getting off one horse and onto the other, just as long as you stay there, you know? It's never going to acknowledge you. It's never going to say, hey, you know, this is what you want. The carousel of crazy keeps you in the down mode, in the little tiny mode, powerless. Getting off of the carousel of crazy is very simple. Making a decision to do so, making a decision to pull the plug, making a decision to commit to being consistent, and not waiting for the big moment. You know, big moments are great. You know, big moments are fabulous. We all love it. But big moments aren't the thing. And it's not the thing that's going to get you off your duff. It's not going to be the cosmic 2x4 that says, you know, stop this. But this might be a cosmic 2x4 that your consistency is going to create the exact life that you want to live. There you go. How about that? Daily. What do you think? Can we do this? Can we commit to that? Consistency? Pinkies up? That's what I'm about. Consistency. So, speaking of being consistent, I have a work list of things that I need to get done, and I need to be consistent in getting that done, and therefore I'm going to say goodbye. Today we're going to be talking about consistency versus epiphany. You know, yesterday we got a little fired up. I got to preach. You guys are the best, and you know I appreciate you so much, and I'm so glad you're in my life. I have huge gratitude for you. Peace be with you. Thank you for joining me today. You can find me on TikTok for daily tips to help support your most vibrant life. And remember, you are the author of your own story. Until next time.